Carlos Alcaraz
just beat Novak Djokovic to win the Wimbledon Final. However, Carlos actually played Novak a month ago in the French Open, and this happened.
Did today's cramping have a lot to do with the fact that it was Novak Djokovic on the other side of the net?
Probably.
He was so nervous to play against Novak that he started cramping. So how did he go from not believing he could beat Djokovic and doubting his ability to actually beating Djokovic? In this video, I'll show you the one word that Carlos used to eliminate his self-doubt and believe in himself enough to achieve what he initially thought to be impossible. When Carlos was growing up, Novak Djokovic was his idol.
You inspire me a lot. I started playing tennis, watching you.
So when Carlos eventually had to play Djokovic in the semifinal of the French Open, he was extremely nervous and deep down doubted he was capable of beating his idol.
Before this match, I thought that I wasn't ready to beat Djokovic.
The pressure of the match and his nerves were so bad that during the match, he started physically cramping. With Carlos suffering from cramps and self-doubt, Novak destroyed him and dominated the entire match. After the match, Carlos was devastated and knew that it wasn't his lack of skill that held him back, but his lack of belief in himself and belief that he could beat a tennis great. But he swore that if he played Novak again, he wouldn't make the same mistake. A month later, Carlos reached the Wimbledon Final, and his opponent was none other than Novak Djokovic. This was the Wimbledon Final, so it was even a more important match than the French Open semifinal where he'd recently lost to Novak. In the lead up to the match, the same feelings of nerves and doubt in his abilities returned. But if he didn't want this match to have the same result as last time, he had to prepare his body and mind differently. Instead of doubting himself and thinking that beating his idol was impossible, he told himself
I can beat Novak.
And told himself that over and over until he started to believe it. By the time the match started, he truly believed he could win, and that's what happened.
What was the biggest reason you were able to get through today?
I would say the strong mentally, believe in myself.
When you have to compete against an opponent that may be better than you, or try to beat a time that you don't think you can, it's easy to doubt yourself because maybe you've never actually done the thing that you're trying to do. Carlos had never actually beat Novak, so how could he believe that he could? But this is a loser's mindset, because by doubting yourself, you prevent yourself from performing your best. And this is what happened to Carlos. He played far below the level he was capable of, and Novak crushed him. After that match, he realized it wasn't his ability that let him down, but his lack of belief in himself. With this lack of belief, he would never perform his best against Novak. So if he had any chance of beating Novak, first he had to believe that he could. But how? Well, in the lead up to the Wimbledon Final, Carlos used one word that transformed his belief and allowed him to beat his idol.
I can beat Novak.
The magical word is can. When you doubt yourself, what word do you typically use a lot? Can't. I can't do this, I can't do that. Even if you don't vocalize it, that's typically what you're thinking. And how could you possibly achieve something if you don't even believe you can? This is why the first step to achieve anything in life is to believe that you can. An easy way to boost your belief is to tell yourself that you can do anything, even the thing that you thought was impossible. Because if you truly believe you can, you'll perform in a way that will give you the best chance to actually do so. A mental exercise for this is that anytime you catch yourself saying the word can't, replace it with the word can, then add the word if, followed by an actionable statement. For example, instead of saying I can't run a marathon, say I can run a marathon if I stay consistent with a marathon training program. If you eliminate the word can't from your vocabulary, you'll eliminate your self-doubt. And if you tell yourself can over and over, even if at first you don't believe it, eventually you'll develop a rock-solid belief. To go even further, you can use the power of affirmations by writing down or saying I can statements. For example, in the lead up to the Wimbledon Final, Carlos could say, I can beat Novak Djokovic over and over and write it down multiple times daily. At first this may seem silly because the first couple times or even days, you may think what you're saying or writing is a straight up lie. But with enough repetition, you'll believe in yourself so much that you'll forget what it was like when you didn't believe. So if you ever doubt yourself, eliminate the word can't and only tell yourself that you can. If you do this with consistency, you'll perform your best and accomplish feats that you never thought were possible.